All right, this is part B of your diffusion and osmosis lab. I have learned since part A that this in fact is not backwards, so you guys should have no issue reading this at all. I've also learned that perhaps I could move my arms a little bit less and be less distractive, so I'm gonna try that. You're gonna have to give me feedback. All right, so the first thing you're going to do for part B is you are going to label, and I've already done this, your 6 red solo cups with the appropriate molar concentrations. So the 0 molar, the 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and then 1.0 molar sucrose solution. All right. Then you are going to, rather than filling bags like you did with part A, you're gonna kind of hole punch a potato to get potato cylinders. So you're gonna get a potato. I've kind of already used this one, but I'm gonna do it again. You are going to take your, it's kind of like a little hole puncher. It's a metal cylinder that you can punch the potato with and then get the potato cylinder. So my recommendation when you do this is that you keep the potato flat on the table, you're vertical with the hole puncher, and you go straight down. Don't go at an angle, straight down 90 degrees. And then you can use this little skewer to poke. There's a little hole on the top where the handle is. You can poke the cylinder out of, see it comes right out there. You can poke it out directly on to a piece of wax paper. You need 4 cylinders per cup, so I'm gonna go ahead really quickly and repeat this 3 more times. 1. You guys, yeah, you can see this. 2. And it comes out the side. And then a 4th time. All right, so there's my 4 potato cylinders, and you can see that in the potato itself, I've tried to keep the holes as close together as possible so that I'm not wasting potato. Again, if you go at an angle, it's very hard to do this and you don't get really good cylinders, so you wanna be vertical. Okay, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to just dump these out into one of my 6 cups, and I'm just gonna cover it with the wax paper and set it aside. I'm doing that so that water doesn't kind of evaporate out and cause the potatoes to like artificially lose water. So this is gonna sit over here covered while I make my other 5 cups. So go ahead, let's assume that time has passed. I've used my hole puncher. I've got 4 more here, 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 and here. So I've got all my potatoes done. They're all covered with the wax paper. Now I can mask them. So I'm going to take the wax paper with the cup over to my balance, and I'm just going to kind of like flip it over. I'm holding the potatoes here in my hand on the wax paper because I do want to get an initial mass for the cup alone. If there's any water in there for whatever reason, just make sure it's empty. But I'm going to take an initial mass of my cup, not because I care about the mass of the cup right now, but rather because I want to tare it and set the scale to 0. So now that I've done that, I can kind of just dump my potatoes back in, and any mass that shows up is the mass of the potato. So right, for me, it says 5.65 grams. I'm gonna record that in the initial potato mass. In this case, it's my 0.0 molar cup. So just make sure that you are keeping track of which cup is what. It would help if you actually label the cup directly as well as the data table with the mass. That way you don't like lose the mass or forget to record it somewhere. It'll be physically on the cup itself. Okay, so all 6 cups will be done that way. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and pour the corresponding solution directly into the cup. And this is a difference. In the first part of the lab, part A, you were pouring distilled water in all of them. This time you're pouring the corresponding solution in. So I'll use distilled water for my 0.0 cup because it's 0.0. And I'm only covering them about a third of the way to the half of the way. I think in the lab it says 100 milliliters, but you just want to make sure that the potatoes are covered. So it's about a third to a half of the cup. And again, whatever goes in the cup matches what the cup says. So this time, if it says 0.2, I'm actually putting 0.2 into the cup. So same thing here, glug, 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 glug. 0.4 and 0.4, glug, 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 glug. Again, about a third of the way full until I've done that with all 6 of my cups. All right. At this point, you're gonna probably set the cups aside, probably like on the back counter. The whole class will be doing this. So you'll also probably want to initial the cups. It's a good thing if someone in your group has their initials on it so you don't lose your cups. I'll probably tell you that during class as well. But then somebody is going to return the end of that day. So like if you're a morning class, someone in your group is gonna have to come back at the end of the day. If you're the last class of the day, then you can just kind of hang out for a second. But someone's gonna come back in your group that same day and take the final mass for your potatoes. So let's say I'm that person. I'm gonna get my group's solo cups and I am going to take, I'll just do it with this cup because I have it. I'm going to dump the solution out. And then here's the tricky part. You need to do your best to dry the potatoes without pulling water out of them. So we're gonna go back to our blot drying method from part A. You're gonna take a paper towel, but very, very quickly. This is gonna be very, very fast. Ready? Here we go. Invert the cup, potatoes are on the thing. I'm gonna maybe squiggle them back and forth. Boom, done, that's it. That's blot dry, really fast. I'm not drawing water out of the potatoes by just leaving them on the paper towel. We don't want that. So be quick about it. And then, again, this would be the person who's staying after school that would be doing this. So it needs to be someone trustworthy. They've got a job to do here. Take the wax paper. You can dump the potatoes out, kind of hold it while you mass the cup. Again, we don't care about the mass of the cup. We just want to tear the scale so it's set to 0 so that when we dump the potatoes back in the cup, we know the mass of the potato. And then you can record the final mass. And then the next class, the person who did this will give the data to the rest of the group. You'll calculate the % change in mass and then graph it in class. So I hope this helped, and I will see you in lab.